Hey there, CJ Math students. I'm going to help you out with homework 7.2, which is working backwards with area and perimeter, i.e. I give you the area perimeter, and then you solve for the missing side. So here we go. A rectangle has a perimeter of 20 centimeters and a length of 4 centimeters. What is the measure of its width? So your formula for perimeter rectangle is 2L plus 2W. Plug in what you know. You know your perimeter is 20. Right, so 20 equals, and you know your length is 4. So 2 times 4 is what you're going to plug in, plus 2W. And then you go to work. So 20 is equal to 8 plus 2W. This is an equal sign, sorry. And then it's just a two-step equation where you add -8 to both sides. And you get 12 is equal to 2W. And then you finish off by dividing by 2. So W in this case is equal to 6, and it's centimeters. Sorry about the typo here. This should say length. This should say length as well. And this one should say width. All right, let me do number 3 for you real quick. So again, the perimeter formula, because a rectangle has a perimeter of 34, right? So you're working with P is equal to 2L plus 2W. It has a perimeter of 34 and a width of 6. What's the measure of its length? So we're going to plug in 34 is equal to 2 times the length. In this case, it tells you our length we don't have, so my fault. 2 times the length plus 2 times, and in this case they give us the width, which is 6. All right, so basically what I did there is I'm just always plugging in for what they give me, right? They gave me my width, so I plugged in for width. So 34 is equal to 2L plus 12, and then we go ahead and solve that two-step equation. We add -12 to both sides. We get 22 is equal to 2L, and then divide by 2. So in this case, the length is equal to 11 millimeters. Right. If you haven't already paused and tried and done 2 and 4, I would highly recommend doing that. So on 5 through 8, we're working backwards with triangles. So it might be helpful to write down the formula as A is equal to base times height divided by 2 for all of these, right? And once we do that, then we're going to pick out the relevant information. So in this case, I have the area of my triangle is 22. So I plug in 22 for my area. And I say my base is 2. So my base is 2. So I plug in 2 for my base. So 2, we're solving for h and over 2. So how do I do this? First, I clear the fraction by multiplying both sides by 2. That clears that. I get 44 is equal to 2h. Remember, the fraction's been cleared because I multiplied both sides by 2. I'm going to write this line one more time. 44 is equal to 2h, and I divide everything by 2. So in the end, my answer, my height, ends 44 divided by 2, which is 22. Okay. Number 7. I've got a height of 12 and an area of 96. So 96 goes for A is equal to my height, which is 12. So in this case, I need to find out what my base is. So 12 and then B for base. And some of you might be saying, well, wait, these are flip-flop. Yeah, again, I just wrote the constant first. Okay, over 2. So 12 was my height. Base is what I need to solve for. It's always divided by 2, so that's why it's still divided by 2 there. So times 2 times 2. This side cancels off. And basically I'm just doing my multiplication of what is 96 times 2, which is 192, is equal to 12b. Sorry, just keep it in green for you. And then divide both sides by 12. So b, in this case, is equal to 16. So 16 meters. And I always look back into my problem to say what my units are. Forgot about that. And this one, this is inches, right? So just to recap on this one, the area of a triangle can be somewhat confusing, but really it's just like the area of a rectangle. It's just divided by 2. So that's why you have to multiply both sides by 2 first to clear the fraction, and then divide by whether it was your base that you were given or your height. Right? That's the end of homework video part 1. Actually, no, I'm going to make this all one video. Sorry, guys. Just getting too used to the notes there. So working back with parallelograms and rectangles. So a parallelogram has a height of 6 and an area of 60. What is the measure of its base? So the formula, parallelogram, very easy. Its area is equal to base times height. It tells us, hey, I know that my height is 6 and my area is 60. So I'll be plugging in 60 is equal to my height, which is 6, times my base, which is something I don't know. Right? So again, I knew my height, that's where the 6 comes in. I need to solve for my base, that's why I still have the b there. So I'll divide both sides by 6, and my height, or my base, excuse me, easy to confuse, is equal to 10, and in this case 10 meters. Alright, I'll do a rectangle, I'll do number 10 since number 11 is a parallelogram again. But again, the formula for rectangle is just area is equal to base times height. It has a height of 15 and an area of 120. So I'm plugging in 120 for area. That's A, area 120 is equal to my height of 15. And again, I'm solving for my base. So I'll just divide both sides by 15 to get my answer. So 120 divided by 15 in this case gives me a base of 8. And it's 8 feet. So there you go. If I were you, I'd pause and try and do 11 and 12. Alright, working backwards with trapezoids, this might be the hardest stuff. That's why I'll do two of them. So the formula is area is equal to 1/2 times height times base 1 plus base 2. Now plug in everything you know. So you know your area is 21 is equal to 1/2 stays the same. You don't know your height, so that's what you're solving for. And you do know your bases of 3 plus 4. So this might be a tad bit confusing, but bear with me. So it's going to be 21 is equal to 1/2 of what is 3 plus 4? It's 7, and then you're solving for h. That's what you don't know, right? So what's half of 7? That's 21 is equal to 3.5 times h. And then what do? I just divide by 3.5. So 21 divided by 3.5 in this case is 6. So 6 miles. So again, this is a little bit confusing because you have this 1/2 next to this h, but again, you can switch this stuff around because of the commutative property of multiplication. All of this stuff is multiplied. These guys are added, but 1/2 is multiplied by height is multiplied by the sum of this. So all I did was flip-flop those two, took half of 7, which was 3.5, and then divide by 3.5 to give 6. I'll do another one. So trapezoid has area is equal to 1/2 height base 1 plus base 2. So it has an area of 20. It's right there. 20 is equal to the 1/2 always stays the same. It's got a base of 6 and a height of 4. So the height goes right where the h is, 4. And then one of the bases is 6, and the other one we don't know, so we can call that x. All right, so 20 is equal to, what is 1/2 of 4? That's 2. times 6 plus x, right? And so we're still solving for this guy. You'll use distributive property to get rid of the parentheses, 20, because this is saying 20, this is saying 2 times that grouping. So 20 is equal to 12 plus 2x, and then it's just a two-step equation. So add negative 12, you get 8 is equal to 2x, divide by 2. X in this case is 4, and it's meters, so meters. All right, so last section is we have some Terra Nova review questions. Check out number 17. A cement worker charges $2.25 per square foot. Initially, if you see that square foot, you should think, an area, because it's how many square feet inside of a shape. How much will he charge to lay a driveway that is 9 by 35? So here's your driveway. It is 9 by 35, or 9 by 30. So use area equals base times height, so A equals BH to solve. So basically that's 9 times 30. That's 270 feet squared that he has to cover. And then to figure out the cost, you're just going to do 225 times 270. So 225 times 270, right? Because for 1 square foot, it's $2.25, right? For 270 square feet, it ends up being $607.50. For 19, what's the perimeter of this figure? You got to find common denominators. So we have 8 and 5/6 plus 5 and 3/8 plus 2 and 2/3 plus 7 and 1/4. And the common denominator of 6, 8, 3, and 4 ends up being 24. So we're going to multiply this guy here by 4. This guy here by 3, this guy here by 8, and this guy here by 6. So we now have new fractions of 8 and 20 over 24, plus 5 and 9 over 24, plus 2 and 16 over 24, plus 7 and 6 over 24. All right? Let's add up all the whole numbers first. So 8 plus 5 plus 2 plus 7. The whole numbers give you 22. Now let's add up all the numerators. 20 plus 9 is 29. 16 plus 6 is 22. So 29 plus 22 gives you 51 over 24. And now what we have is a mixed number with an improper fraction here. So how many times does 24 go into 51? It goes in there twice. So this part alone, 24 into 51, goes in there twice. That's 48 with 3 left over. So you're really going to have 22 added to 2 and 3/24, which really gives you 24 and 3/24. Sorry, messed that up. 24 and 3/24. And that part can be simplified to 24 and 1/8. So C. Lots of work going on there, but all stuff that you guys know how to do. Last question, number 20. I'm going to leave you to it. I would help you by drawing a, oops, messed that up. It's supposed to be a square television, right? One side is 15 feet long, and they want you to find the perimeter. Good luck. Call me if you have questions.